माला सुधाम कुंभ विबोध मुद्रा विद्या विराजित करवारी जाताम अपार कारुण्य सुधाम्बुराशिम श्री शारदांबा प्रणतोस्मि नित्यम. Seeking the benediction of Jagannatha Sharda Parameshwari, Vagdevi Saraswati, the repository of all that is culture, knowledge, tradition, wisdom, art, learning and fine art, I bow to her as I commence my address today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this evening to commemorate the centenary of one who had left deep imprints on the sands of time and who had added to the glory in the archives of Indian dance beyond the shores of this land, Professor Mohan Khokar. These centenary celebrations have been initiated by the Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts, and the inaugural program was held on the 30th of December 2023, of course at the alma mater of Professor Mohan Khokar of Rukmani Devi Arundale's Kalashetra. From there it has travelled and today it has come to this Mahalakshmi Kshetra of ours, and we from the Shanmukhananda Sabha join hands with thanks to the patronage of Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts to have this evening devoted to our remembrance and gratitude for the man who has given all that Indian dance today stands for. India is deemed to be a pantheon of cultural efflorescence. From times immemorial, she has attracted visitors, foreigners, researchers, scholars from across the globe, thanks to the vivacity and the vibrancy of her culture and the people that she is blessed with. Over the eons, she has cradled several seers, poets, and researchers who have added and consolidated to the cultural fabrics of this peninsula. This blessed land of ours has a living history that spans several millennia. Westerners have always wondered as to what is it that has kept this nation united despite the balkanization of very powerful nations across the globe in the 90s. And the very fact that vociferous tendencies and divisive elements have rocked this Indian society of ours over the long civilization of ours at times, at several points of time in history, and raised their ugly head. And yet, this nation has survived. This ancient land of ours has got 18 major languages, 1600 minor languages and dialects, 6,400 castes and subcastes, 52 ethnic tribes, 6 major religious faiths, 29 states, and 7 union territories, all rolled and fused into one called as Bharat. Mark Twain calls it as the cradle of human civilization, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of tradition, and the great-grandmother of legend. If singularly there is one factor that has kept this nation united and preserved its identity, it is the culture of this land of ours. The alma of our culture is the 3 C's: classicism, consistency, and compassion. Culture, my dear friends, is derived from the Latin word calor, which means to cultivate and to adore. Culture is the cultivation of mind for love of ideals. Culture is a manifestation of creativity in all of us, the creative consciousness, for without conscious, there can never be any culture. The unifying influence of culture is the hallmark of Indian culture. That's why I said this nation stands united at all times. There can never be a better example, a better illustration of the unifying influence of Indian culture than the life and times of Professor Mohan Khokar. Born in Quetta in Baluchistan, now in Pakistan, I think he had no scent of dance. Still, as he pointed out, Rammohan came over there with the first dance over there. Maybe Saroja was part of that team. After the first glimpse and glance of whatever he saw, I think his life mission and pursuit became 1, Rammohan, and number 2, Indian dance. And as she said at the beginning, 5 trains, and then ultimately landed at the Mecca of Indian culture, the southern culture of this land. And he became the first Sikh student, after convincing, Rukmani Devi is not easy to convince also, to become a student of Kalashetra. Those were the days when I don't think any individual will have a photographic instrument. It was confined only to institutions. And Khokar had one. And he clicked his way to glory and greatness of his own contribution, thanks to all that he clicked during his lifetime, both in Kalakshetra and thereafter in the long professional journey that he had connected with Indian culture. He assiduously built up the archives of dance which became his passion in life to a level that it is unbelievable that a man during his lifetime can click 100,000 poses of dances and dancers, more than 250,000 press clippings, 5,000 books on dance, the choicest of them which bring out the greatness of the tradition that we have, several idols, archives, memorabilia, mementos, to an extent that he virtually became the numero uno of the documented science and history of Indian arts. He terminated his life journey on the 17th of September 1999. We remember this date for several reasons, but easily we remember because it is the day in the Sabha, because our Arajya Gayika is Subbalakshmi. 16th September is her birthday, 17th September is the birthday of our Prime Minister, 17th September is also the birthday of our Lalgudi Jayaraman. So that day when he departed, I believe he left behind all these giants for the rest of the country. That there is some succession of whatever we have done during our lifetime, they are there to take it forward. But the greatest contribution that he ever made was to hand over his archives, which is the greatest virasat, the heritage that he had accumulated with painstaking perfection, to his third son, Professor Ashish Khokar. Normally, when you get a collection of papers which gather dust, yellowness, and they all split with time, the easiest opportunity for anyone with no passion for what the contents are to find its way into the rightful place for several of us. But Ashish, as the documentary correctly said, classified it, documented it, and segregated it to a form compatible to digitalization. And the greatest contribution that he has ever made is to perpetuate all the contribution of his father by handing over that virasat to a perpetual institution and not to individuals or to sabhas. And it has come to Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts, and I'm sure for endless times these archives will serve all students of dance. But I would be more delighted if they could digitize all these archives and make it available online, free for every student of dance, every school of dance. And I promise him, if they need some support, this institution will be with him to accelerate that process and reach out to as many students of dance as possible. If Indian art and tradition has to survive, it is the responsibility of this generation. Let's not speak history, that generation is over. And to most of us who are in the sunset of this generation of ours, we owe it to ourselves to ensure that archives like this, which have come absolutely free to us, are preserved and transferred with that same pristine purity with which they were handed over to us to generation next. That is the greatest responsibility of every generation, and much less for this generation, which stands on the threshold of a critical juncture in Indian history and its culture. We are beholden to Dr. Sandhya Purohit for having come all the way back into the Sabha to preside over today's function and to release this book that Professor Mohan Khokar has compiled and edited on the greatness of all that his father had done. She came to us on the 11th of December 2023, which coincided with the 19th Punyatithi of Bharat Ratna Dr. M.S. Subbalakshmi, and she gave us the privilege of releasing that book that the Sabha brought out, MS Forever a Legend. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence today. I think if ever you were to archive modern dance all the people are available here. All the gurus, the greatest of them, be it in Bharatanatyam, be it in Odissi, Manipuri, Kathak. I'm coming to that. Why? I haven't forgotten Kathak. With Dograji sitting over here, how can Kathak go away? Kathak. All are there. And I think we are eternally grateful to them for having come here this evening as we celebrate the life and times of Professor Mohan Khokar. As I come to the end of the short address, because when the mic comes to me, people say that this man goes on and on. But today, it has to be rationed. As we come to the end of my address this evening, may we all be blessed to draw a leaf from the life and times of Mohan Khokar and incorporate into our lives through passage of time in this eternal quest in our pilgrimage of perfection, a little of those gunas that Indian culture, art and tradition has bestowed and given it to us. Thank you.